Hey Guru Nation, so what you're about to see is me and Monica going through the overall research process with one of our sub-investigators who's brand new. So this is what all you research clinics should do, whether you're big or small. If you have sub-investigators that are not really that involved but want to get more involved, you should kind of go through, use my courses if you want. I have a free YouTube video on this. Go through the clinical research process with them, get them engaged. It's going to take a little bit of effort on your part. Monica brought food, right? But the ones that want to learn are going to show up, and then you get them more involved, and this is how you sort of get them to dab their foot in the water before they jump in. So teach them a little bit about research in general, then you get into protocol specifics on any study that they're involved in as a sub-investigator, and this is a good way to also go out in the community and teach other physicians when you're recruiting physicians or nurse practitioners on clinical research. You just start them off slowly. So I'm just showing you a little bit of some of what we talked about, and hope you enjoy. Take care. For our studies. Now, asthma studies have different assessments. Sometimes there's physical, sometimes there's investigational product administration. So an investigational product is basically the study drug. So that's the one that the sponsor, whoever's sponsoring the study, is trying to get approved. So they submit the study results to the FDA, and it takes about 10 years. The process takes about 10 years to get a drug from lab to market. And it takes about $1 billion per compound. So in between that 10 years, there's a bunch of studies. There's phase 1 through phase 4 clinical research studies. Right, phase 1 is done on healthy volunteers, so they're just testing the toxicity levels of the drug. We don't do those studies. We do phase 2, 3, and 4, which are outpatient studies, and they're looking for safety and efficacy on the target population. Okay. So for this first study, I guess this asthma one, this is going to be a phase, it should say right there, phase 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like the last phase prior to submitting to the FDA. So those are called pivotal studies. If there's going to be an audit of a study by the FDA, it's going to be on a phase 3 because it's the most important study prior to approval. These are usually longer term. Phase 2 studies usually take about 2 months from screening until end of study for each patient. Phase 3 can go as long as 2 years, 3 years. And their visits are less frequently at the office. Sometimes they'll come in once a month. Sometimes it'll be every 2 weeks, and then it will taper down to once a month, just depending on the protocol. So this one, I don't even know who the sponsor is, but we're starting this one in March. So if you, throughout the course of your practice, if you happen to see anyone with asthma, secondary to whatever else they have that they're seeing you for, they could be a good candidate for the study. And so if you have a patient that you think would be a good fit, you just let one of us know and we'll be in touch with them. And patients typically have objections to research. The biggest one is, I don't want to be a guinea pig, right? And when it's a phase 3 study, you can tell them that there's already been on average about 7 years of studies conducted prior to this trial, and we already know the majority of the adverse events from phase 1 and phase 2 studies. So in the phase 3, it's deemed to be safe enough to continue, and now we're just looking at efficacy. Okay. And the patients like this part, they get compensated for their time.
Biggest question always.
Yeah, so they get compensated. Usually it's an average of $50 to $100 per study visit.
Okay.
They get full labs. They get, there's a schedule of assessments in there that shows everything they get. ECGs. For Alzheimer's studies, they get MRI scans, PET scans. So these are things that they may not receive under their traditional care, but by being part of clinical research, they actually get those, and then they get their own results from those labs.
Okay.
Oftentimes, we've actually discovered conditions that the patients have had because their doctors weren't ordering certain labs.
Yeah, just doing the assessments.
Yeah, I mean, we've discovered hepatitis on patients that had schizophrenia. You know, if it wasn't for clinical research, they would have never known they had that. We've also had patients that have found treatments that work that are experimental, and then once they're approved, they can tell their doctor, hey, I had good success with this study, with this study drug, and now that it's approved, I would like for you to consider putting me on it. Another thing they do in these phase 3 studies is they have what's called a long-term extension. So during a study, they're usually double blind. So you won't know, the patient won't know if they're receiving study drug, placebo, or a current standard of treatment.
Okay.
All right, that will last for anywhere from 6 months to 12 months until they get the study results. They want to show that the investigational product can separate from placebo as far as efficacy. Now, after that part of the study's over, they have what's called a long-term extension, where anyone who wants to continue in the study, they're guaranteed the actual drug. And so that's really good for patients that have done well or
Just a
have
long-term
gotten the
efficacy.
placebo, but now they're going to be guaranteed to get the study drug.
Oh, okay.
And
so
so
people who get placebo are still.
yeah. So even if you got placebo, if you join the long-term extension, they continue to come in and get compensated. They get all the labs, all the assessments. They get, and it does not interfere at all with their private practice care. We don't bill insurance. We don't do anything that would replace the healthcare provider from what they're doing.
And how long is each study? If a patient joins it, how long do they be in the study for? Is it
So
completed
they
very
can
long
drop
study?
anytime for any reason. They don't even need to give a reason.
What if they complete it?
If they complete, like for a phase 3 study, they're typically longer term, so they can go up to 2 years.
Okay.
What we usually see is like 6 to 12 months and then a 2-year or a 1-year add-on extension. So
Okay.
that's the one where they're
We
guaranteed
have-
the actual drug.
We have one that is been like for 3 years.
Now for the next what?
1 more year.
1 more year.
Yeah, they are going to receive.
So oftentimes you do
medication
see
for them.
benefits for these patients.
And even after they finish the 1 more year free, they will get discount after.
Okay, and who do they go with this back to Global?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and then our office is right over there.
yeah, but with target Indonesia, we don't have any more patients enrollment. It's
Mhm.
closed, so unfortunately, there is no more space for patients.
But we are starting some new schizophrenia
Yeah.
studies that are testing different antipsychotics.
Yeah.
So those are the ones starting in March,
Yeah.
April.
No.
Around.
You guys have
Yeah.
inclusion criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So every
yeah, I will
protocol-
send it to you guys.
Yeah, when we actually get the study, so
But we already have this schizophrenia study.
yeah, so the next step is the monitor, which is a clinical research associate. They're gonna be coming out to do what's called a site initiation visit. And that means they're training all the staff, making sure everyone has the proper qualifications. So they're gonna look at your CV.
Oh.
They're gonna make sure that you're trained on whatever assessments Dr. Kellogg wants you to do. And then they will train you on the protocol. And part of that training is inclusion exclusion criteria. But we'll give you a cheat sheet too. And in reality, the study coordinator is doing 99% of the work. She's just gonna guide you on an assessment you're doing maybe. She's gonna let you know when it is, how long, who's coming in, what time. We can even do it in your office. You don't need to come upstairs, but sometimes they are recorded, so you may need to come upstairs and use our little iPad.
Okay.
And a typical assessment takes 30 to 40 minutes at the most for the kind of stuff you're going to be doing. And then we do all the other stuff. But then patient referrals, like anyone that you see that you think would be a good fit for a particular study, just let us know, and we're going to have you guys as sub-investigators. So we're actually allowed to compensate you for your time for doing the study. And you can start building your CV. So you can start putting clinical research
I will give it
experience
to
on
you.
there.
But
Like I'll
this
show you
is-
my
this
CV.
is
I got
one
like
that
all these
we're
studies on there.
enrolling right now. It's asthma.
This is a fast-growing
Oh,
industry,
sorry.
and it's an
Yeah,
industry that's not
I know,
going
but-
anytime
but that's
soon.
an easy one.
So it's a great insurance
I don't have
policy.
any asthma.
Yeah?
In case private
That one is
practice
quite
doesn't
good.
work out or side, there's a lot of practitioners doing research on the side that make really good money as a side income. because again, we have the study coordinator that does most of the work.
Okay.
It's just a matter of patient referrals and doing the assessments that you're delegated to do.
So how often would you need my help as a sub-investigator?
It would vary, so depending on our enrollment. If we don't have any patients, we're not gonna need you, but if we start seeing patients, they usually come once every 2 weeks per study, on average. Some studies, they'll have them come in like 3 days in a row, and then they won't come back for another 2 weeks. Or sometimes they'll come in once a month.
Okay.
So it really depends, but Monica's really good about scheduling things. And since you're here every day,
Person then?
yeah, and we work around your schedule too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can only do a certain time,
I just showed you the I called the
schedule of
the
assessment.
schedules of assessments, and I tell you what's the window, and you tell me, okay, whatever day between this. So I organize in between you the schedule of assessments and the patient.
Okay.
That everybody.
So do we just keep in contact at this point every time you guys have a new
Yeah.
trial you're doing?
Yeah. So
you
we're
just send
gonna.
an inclusion criteria once it kickstarts. You let
Yeah.
them know how
So
often you
yeah,
need.
so right now what we have, but we're going to start enrolling is for that one that is asthma, which has nothing to do with the mental health illness, but that's a good and easy study to get patients for. And then we're having for schizophrenia, and that's an injectable. That's actually a medication that is already on the market, but they are
Hey,
trans.
We're gonna give you all those protocols. Basically, a bird's eye view. This is good for video and just for you. So, there's the drug company, right? Like, let's say Pfizer. Then there's what's called a CRO, Contract Research Organization. They're the ones who the sponsor, Pfizer, outsources all their monitoring to. And monitors are basically auditors. Like, I'm a monitor myself. So I work for a lot of these sponsors to go to research clinics. I go to different research clinics to make sure they're following protocols. Well, after the CRO, there's the research sites. And that's what we are, Global Clinical Trials. And that's what you're a part of, is a research site. So Dr. Kellogg is the PI. He runs this site. There's probably 40 other sites per study, sometimes more, right? All across the country, sometimes across the world. And we're just one of those sites. So we have our own monitor that comes. They're like an external auditor. They come in here, make sure we're following what's called good clinical practice. There's a module that you can take where you can actually get GCP certified. It's free. It just takes like an hour of your time. So can we send him that link?
Perfect.
Yeah, that link. And then there's the NIH Protecting Human Research Subjects. That's also free. We're going to send you that link as well. And then each study has its own little mini training. But we can do those with you just to make it easier on you.
Cool.
So we'll work with you. Basically what we would need from you is just help out with assessments, whatever Dr. Kellogg thinks that would be appropriate for you to do. We would compensate you for that. And then any patient that you...
Try to follow a little bit. It's the joke. It's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally get a study a week for Alzheimer's right now.
But this
First
one,
one I
out
did.
of all the ones we have over, I think this one is the best one.
Yeah.
And it's
We'll give it a stock ticker then.
Dutch.
Mhm. Yeah. Speaking of which, so that is allowed. There is what's called a financial disclosure form.
Yeah. I kinda
So
figured.
if you do own more than, I think it's 50,000 of company stock, sometimes it's 25. It depends on the sponsor. You just have to sign that you do own more than that amount, and then it just gets filed with the FDA. But you're still allowed to do that.
I'm allowed to purchase
Yes.
after if I say I own zero stock in this.
Yes. I don't. Not to say I never have, because we've worked on some promising stuff. But I tend to not get into that because I don't know enough about the SEC. And I know some doctors that did get in trouble by the Securities and Exchange Commission because they're the first ones to find out if a drug works or not, right? It's technically insider trading. Okay?
Yeah.
If you see this drug's not working and the sponsor's about to close the study and you sell your stock before everyone else, which is exactly what happened with these two doctors in the Inland Empire a couple years ago. That's it. They lost their license, got fined.
Dang.
So I stay away from that stuff, but that's not to say I haven't done
Yeah.
it before.
I think I'll stay away, but I should definitely learn more about it.
Yeah, I didn't trade on inside information. I just invested in the long term. Actually, I've lost money on some of these stocks I've invested in. So it goes to show you that we oftentimes don't know very much just by doing the study.
Pharmaceutical is very high risk when it comes to stock exchange. But,
Yeah.
So this is great. Yeah. So I'm actually very, very interested in all this.
Yeah, and then a quick hack. So I know you guys, reps come to see you, sales reps.
Mhm.
And I've been telling Dr. Kellogg to do this as well. Each time a sales rep comes to bring you sandwiches or something and sell you on their drug, tell them that you want a meeting with their medical liaison. Because that is the person who is the bridge between sales and R&D, and they're the ones who evaluate research sites for future use on studies.
Perfect. So a little sales meeting or market
Anytime,
pitch for
yeah.
us.
We're
Anytime
actually
you see a
having
sales
one
rep.
coming.
Yeah, well, I tell them that all the time. I stop them in the hallway and tell them, hey,
Medical liaison.
medical liaison. Yeah, sometimes they call it the scientific liaison.
Okay.
Every company's different. Just say liaison, they'll know.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds
So-
great.
Come on, yeah. It's only going on YouTube. No biggie.
So
Perfect.
we're having one coming on March 7th if you want to come and see it. How it works?
SIV?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
actually one of the CRA. Do you remember Jennifer, the one from
Oh, yeah,
Zenobia?
yeah,
She's,
yeah.
She actually.
So each time I see them, I just say, hey, where's your medical liaison? Like, I want to talk to them.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? The only thing we'll need from you is your CV in Word,
Mhm.
so we can put global clinical trials on it,
Okay.
and then file it. And
And the
as we
research.
start getting regulatory documents, you'll need to sign a few. And you'll do some trainings, and then we'll sign training logs. Matter of fact, we should probably sign something today, but we don't have to. We'll do like official trainings
Okay.
on studies. Whenever the next SIV is, just try to stop by for
I
10
guess I'm
minutes
going
if
to
you
put
can.
you on the Alzheimer schizophrenia study.
All of them.
So,
Yeah. Asthma.
I will.
Yeah.
On the asthma.
'Cause it's gonna be
you
good
already
for your
did,
CV
but for
too.
the
Yeah.
schizophrenia, I already put. I actually have to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, sounds great.
So I will.
And
go
when these
downstairs
monitors
and
come,
do
you're
it.
gonna learn a lot. But hopefully, like with these little mini meetings that we're gonna do, you'll learn enough about it so that by the time they come, you're like, you can speak the language a little.
Yeah.
You know, when they say stuff like CRA, IP, IMV, which is interim monitoring visit, they speak in acronyms.
Yeah. I
So
know.
I'm printing out like a mini book for you. It's called Introduction to Clinical Research. Did it print?
Mm.
I'll bring it down
Yeah.
to you.
Okay,
Which
yeah.
office are you usually in for that?
Which office are you guys in?
Right here.
Right in
Okay,
front.
so I'm right below you.
Okay.
So you know the hallway?
Yeah.
I'll be on the other side as everyone else.
Okay.
So the same side as
Okay.
Manny.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
put it down.
okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know where you're at. Yeah.
You know, it's 3 little offices.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably see me when I'm on the phone outside.
Maybe do you walk behind the building?
Yeah, picking at the bushes and stuff. I like rip off all the leaves off the trees. I probably shouldn't do that, but that's a bad habit.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. So the middle office downstairs across the hallway. So
Okay,
on your
okay.
other side of the building.
Do you have any questions? That anything you're unclear of? Do you know how research works for the most part, or like clinical research?
I mean, like roughly, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, like the acronyms, everything you were saying, that was completely foreign to me.
Yeah, because we're doing private industry, so this is not like UC Irvine where they're actually studying the results.
Mhm.
We're just collecting data. We're not
figured as
analyzing
much,
any
yeah.
results. Dr. Kellogg's just collecting data, sending appropriate patients to the study, and then he's providing sufficient oversight to conduct the study. So that Monica and the rest of our staff, like you, like whoever else is on the delegation of duties log.
Follow the protocol.
Mhm.
Okay.
So delegation of duties logs probably you'll probably hear that a lot from the monitors when they come. Like, oh
Alright.
Dylan, did you sign the delegation log yet? Okay. That way when they ask you, you're not like, huh, what's that?
But the
Okay.
GCPs and the
NIH,
NIH
yeah.
will give you a big idea of how it works, but especially in the legal part and the protection of human subjects.
We'll bring you up to speed, little by little.
Mhm.
How long do you think the process will take until, you know, get my feet wet?
Mhm.
I know it
Depends how much
depends on
time you have a
studies and
week, you
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do like a little half an hour every week, I can meet with you every week to go over something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monica can
Or
too.
whatever you have time, just come upstairs and I give you some information and.
Literally
whatever
anytime.
it is,
If you
yeah.
come up there, I'll make time for you, like 20 minutes, and we'll go through something that you want to learn more about.
Okay.
Or like
perfect.
even study specific, we can get into that.
Okay.
We're
I think
used
these
to-
next 2 weeks are a little crazy for me, but after that, my time opens up dramatically.
Good.
So.
When's the first SIB? Like the next one?
And the next one, I'm waiting for the Alzheimer, sorry, asthma.
Okay, so maybe
I
that
know
one.
actually asthma,
We'll try
we're
to
not going
schedule
to
it.
have that because we already
Oh yeah,
approved.
we're a preferred
So
site,
it's
so,
going
we
to
don't
be
need to.
for, maybe for the schizophrenia,
Okay. April?
I think so.
So we
Or
got
the
all
asthma
March.
and the Alzheimer's, both.
We basically have all of March to like go through like a crash course. Of
Yeah.
Cool.
research.
So March. Okay. So let's plan for March. I'll try to get the CD over this weekend if I
Yeah.
can, and let's plan for March to really just, get off the ground and
Okay.
start going hard on it.
Do you have my email? I'll give you my card.
No.
I have his email.
I have a good website that kind of gives like a overview of research for people just wanting to get into it. It's on the back. That's
Cool.
what this video is for too.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Sorry I got
thank
to
you,
bolt on
man.
you guys. The
No, it's
location
fine.
downstairs. But sounds good. And
am
then if you can
welcome.
give me the inclusion criteria of the upcoming
Yeah, we will.
as soon as possible, that way I can start actually.
I will bring you, I
So
will
we're
give you,
remaining-
Yeah, we'll do
two.
that.
You can keep that one. We're enrolling for that
Yeah,
one
get
too.
more.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Dylan.
Appreciate it, guys. It's nice
Thank
meeting
you
you.
for
Yeah,
your
shoot me an
time.
email.
Have yourself a good one.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Take care.
Hello?
Photographer. Good job.
Hey,